This is the Sports Hit List by the fans for the fans.
Topics I talked about was criticism versus hate. And when I texted that to Mac was like, "Carl, we talking about Stephen A." I was like, "We're talking about hate versus criticism in general." But Mac's like, "Nah, we got to touch upon Stephen A." because I guess that kind of falls into that same bracket. But the reason why I mentioned that is because a lot of times the former athletes who are on television and personalities, or even us as fans,
are garbage.
Are saying that we're hating on athletes when we criticize. So I guess I want to take it back to the textbook as far as understanding what's hate and what's criticism. I mean, is there a way for us to differentiate when we're criticizing a player for playing bad, or are we just going to sit out here and be like, well, you're a hater? I guess.
Can I cut you off right there?
Please go right ahead.
When we think about NBA media, who do we think about?
Stephen A. Smith.
Stephen A. Skip.
All right.
NBA on TNT.
Continue the segment. All right. That's all I want to ask.
Right. So, but again, part of that is it just stems not even just to them, but even to us as fans. When we interact with other fans and we're criticizing the game, are we sitting here? Are we hating, or are we criticizing what we see and what they do?
It's hate, bro.
I wouldn't call it. All right, let me not say that. I think where we're at right now in this lifetime, it just seems like everybody is soft and everything is now considered hate instead of just looking at it as criticism. Everybody has access to social media. So the minute they hear something, it's like, oh my God, you're hating. No, it's not hating. I feel like we got to do a poll one of these days to see the age ranking or the age range of these people that are saying that you're hating. You know what I mean? Because I feel like it's this new generation of NBA fans that's coming in that's saying this. When I look at somebody that's a hater to me is somebody like Skip Bayless. His coverage of LeBron James over LeBron James' career is just mind-boggling to me that, he gets away with the crap that he says, and they're paying him millions of dollars to say these things, and he's still going at this rate. But I look at criticism from somebody like, I'll give you an example, like Brian Windhorst, when they brought him on and asked him about the New York Knicks, and he was like, I don't think anybody's really worried about the Knicks, because honestly this year we've seen the Knicks have a few bumps in the road, especially with Mitchell Robinson being out, and now we got Jalen Brunson down, and you see the Knicks, we need a game-winning shot in overtime to beat the Portland Trailblazers, which is nasty to me.
Portland been playing good, Zig.
I was gonna say, yeah, bro.
Screw Portland. I'm sorry, we shouldn't be losing to them.
You're good. Keep going, bro. You're good. Keep going.
Portland been hooping, man.
Scooping, hooping, bro.
Now he want to start winning. Anyway, but yeah, I that's just my whole take on it. I just feel like you can't have an opinion without somebody deeming you a hater, and it's sad that that's where we're at right now. But it's not really hate; it's really criticism. Even sometimes when I look at Kendrick Perkins, some of the things that he's saying, when you take away all the theatrics of what he's saying, it's like, yo, he got a point. Sometimes it comes to fruition. Other times he be wild, like when you talking about Joker and not being the real MVP. He was bugging there.
Yeah. Andres, what are your thoughts here? I guess you kind of said it before. You said it's all hate.
I don't. I love Coach and I love Mike, but I'm gonna try to not go on a rant and spiral into like a 20-minute rant. There's a lot of things that factor into this, right? I don't want this conversation to take a left turn, but how many of that criticism and hate is rooted in racism? Like we don't have to hide from it, right? All of us here, we know that like we're still continuing to fight this battle every single day. Like some of this stuff that some journalists say, I'm just like, bro, did you really like say that out loud? We saw it with Laura Ingraham years back when she told LeBron to shut up and dribble. Like we don't have to hide from it, right? We're all adults. We can have this conversation. We don't need to hide from it. The thing that I have a problem with is that every single time they're trying to build something up, something just comes in and they just tear it down. For example, the Detroit Pistons, right? Cade Cunningham hooping. The Detroit Pistons are not even in the play-in right now. Shaq goes in and he says, "Congratulations to Chauncey Billups, the head coach of the Detroit Pistons." So you're telling me that because, listen, Shaq is probably top 5 players of all time, top 10. But if you're going to be in the NBA media, you got to know what's going on, bro. Like, you're one of the best players of all time, and it just seems like you don't care. There's literally clips of Shaq literally sleeping on the couch while there's games before halftime or before a game takes place. That's number one. Number two, Zig made a very good point about the New York Knicks, right? People want to hate the Knicks for clicks, blah, blah, blah. in my humble opinion, the only teams that can beat the Knicks in the East are the Cavs and the Celtics, and that's completely fine. So why don't we talk about the Knicks like they're not the third best team in the East? They just talk about them like, oh, nobody's worried about them. Oh, it's the same story with the Knicks every single year. Like for years, we talked about the Knicks are ass, the Knicks are ass, the Knicks are ass. Now that the Knicks are good, people are still not talking about them. Another thing, that's a kiss ass with the Pacers, right? At the beginning of the year, Halliburton was struggling, and everything was Halliburton is washed. The Pacers suck. 1 year wonder, Cinderella run. Now that the Pacers are doing good, nobody's talking about them. Like this is the problem, and people are gonna say, "Oh, it's a small market." Blah blah blah. The Oklahoma City Thunder, like Mike said at the beginning of the show, they are 52 and 10, whatever the fuck the record is. Like, why is it that we're praising bad stuff and not the good stuff? Because it's of the markets, right? Like, not to bring up the Lakers. The Lakers got Luka. Everyone was talking about, oh, the Lakers are gonna win the championship, and I get it, right? LeBron and Luka, they get you clicks, blah blah. But like, why is it that we don't see this in any other sport, bro? Today, Lou Williams, coach, you can help me out with this one. Why is it that bench players have such a bone to critique like superstars? Lou Williams went out today and said, "Oh, Giannis hasn't worked on his game," or whatever the hell he said. Like Giannis could have retired 5 years ago and still have a better career than Lou Williams. There's so many like old head players that they have this obsession with tearing down the new media. Gilbert Arenas, phenomenal podcast. Some episodes he's just like his goal is to tear down current superstars. I don't understand it. You don't see this in baseball. You don't see this in football. You don't see this in soccer. You don't see this in tennis. Like I haven't not seen it in any other sport. And you guys know, like obviously a lot of us here, we follow a lot of sports. Basketball is the only sport. No disrespect to Lou Williams, six man. Well, you have a guy like Lou Williams critique Giannis. Giannis is the second best player in the NBA, and be like, "Oh, Giannis has to work on his game. Giannis has to do this." Like, bro, what are we doing, man? You got guys like the Knicks, the Pacers, the Pistons, OKC, Cleveland. Who else? The Grizzlies, the Rockets. Why is nobody talking about the Houston Rockets, son? Ahmed Thompson, phenomenal young player. Everything is about tear down, tear down, tear down. So while I do agree that some players could receive their criticism, quote unquote, why is it that it's more hate than criticism? All right, I'm done ranting. Sorry.
Just two quick points before I go on to Mac. In the terms of Shaq sleeping during the set, that's just booking. It's entertaining to watch another guy like to watch Shaq sleep, and NBA on TNT is about entertainment.
Right.
The other part is, hold on one second, I'll let you speak. So give me a chance to make my two points. And the last point I'll make is that a lot of times, and I said this to Eddie, and I was talking to him about this too, is what is in your algorithm? If your algorithm is giving you nothing but hate and you're seeing it, you're going to see a lot more of the hate than the praise. There are times where I sit here and I watch First Take and I'll watch the entire thing, or I'll watch NBA Today where Kendrick Perkins may hate, but he does give credit when credit is due. And they do segments where they do give the players credit. What I think a lot of times is the negative stuff is the one that's feeding the algorithms for people, because negative sells at the end of the day. So of course they're going to push that negative media down there because they know people are going to click on it and they're going to respond to it. That being said, Coach, what are your thoughts?
First, Andre, it's good. I mean, you gave some really, really good points, to open up to talk about it. One thing, though, it does happen in other sports, especially football. There's a bunch of guys who be on that football set that was like role players that got something to say every week and got their own podcast and stuff like that. So it does happen, but basketball is a lot more because it's polarizing. Basketball is a sport where guys don't wear helmets. It's 5 guys. They get the big deals. They got the big contracts. They got the big endorsement stuff. But like Carl said, it's entertainment. That's what it is. It's WWE now. Like, what's gonna get you? What's gonna get you clicks? What are people watching? People are gonna watch debates. Like, that's what it is. Like if you had to ask a random person in the street, give me 5 NBA analysts or 5 NBA, aficionados who you can go to and listen to and watch. They're gonna name Stephen A. Smith. They're gonna name Skip Bayless, like Mike said. They're probably gonna name Shaq, Ernie, Charles Barkley. Yeah, and Perk. Like, that's what it is. And we gotta understand that's what they're there to do. This really started a lot more in the social media era. Once the social media era started and people can hook up and put some quick grits in there and spin it up, put it in for 1 minute and the whole world's eating it, that's when it started.
Yep.
So, but here, the biggest thing I would say, when you're dissecting it is, if you know what you go to the movies for, you can enjoy the film, right? So if I know I just want to be entertained, at night I'll watch Gil's. I don't watch Gil's Arenas to get an understanding of the game. I don't watch Gil's Arena for that. I don't watch Inside the NBA to get an understanding of the game. If I want to get an understanding of the game, I'm gonna watch, maybe Bill Simmons,
Legler.
right? Yeah, Tim Legler. Like I'm gonna watch those guys. Like
Yep.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
watch. I'm not gonna listen to those guys. But if I just want to be entertained, I'm gonna watch that. If I want to watch boxing and I want to watch a real fight, I'm going to watch a real boxing match. If I want to be entertained, I may throw on wrestling. I may throw it on just to laugh and see what kind of nonsense script they got going on. This is
The Rock is back, right? The Rock's
It's
back.
crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. It's like 2000 again, man. But Jay, it's all scripted. These people write the scripts. Like Stephen A. Smith said, you heard it, and I'm gonna leave with this. You heard it in his interview on Gil's Arena. He said, I wasn't gonna talk about the LeBron stuff, but I went into ESPN, and my bosses are the one who said you better talk about it. So his bosses at ESPN are the chatty patties saying you need to talk about this so we could get more people to listen to what you got to talk about. When it's coming from the bosses, this is a fight we can't win, yo.
But before Mike says something, I agree 100% with what you're saying. Like that's not.
I'm listening.
No, you're good. My thing is, it's the youth. It's not us. I don't watch Inside the NBA to hear Charles Barkley analyze the game. I don't watch. I haven't watched First Take in years, but I don't watch First Take to see what their analysis on the game is. Like Coach said, if you're gonna watch that for entertainment, like that's fine. You know what I mean? But let's talk about Tim Legler, right? You guys watch ESPN. What time slot is Tim Legler on? 12:30 a.m., 1 a.m. because they were like, hey, this guy knows so much basketball. Let's just put him on at 1 a.m. when nobody cares. I obviously click sell. Like I understand it 100%. The problem is the youth is watching NBA on TNT. So if Shaq is calling Chuck a bum, people are gonna grow up thinking that Charles Barkley was ass, for example.
Mike, what are your thoughts here, man?
Man, it's so much. My brothers have said so much, and I want to kind of synthesize a lot of the points everyone was making. I want to start with Zig's point because I think Andres a little bit is exemplifying what Zig was saying about the younger generation and their view on the difference between hate and criticism. To your question, Carl, and I think there is a lot of that there. And I'll just take the example, Andres, you gave about Lou Williams critiquing Giannis, because that's a fair critique to say Giannis has not gotten better in terms of some of the abilities. Now, of course, he has gotten better, particularly with his mid-range shot. He's gotten a little bit he's gotten better with that. But if a former player has a critique, that doesn't make it hate because you don't agree with their critique. You could just not agree with it. And the idea that he shouldn't be able to critique him because he wasn't as great as Giannis is also incorrect, because who would then we're saying only the great players can critique the great players. No, but Lou Williams may not have been as great as Giannis, but he's played in the NBA. So he's got that G14 classification, like Shaq says. And he's been around great players. So he knows what it takes. He knows what it looks like. He's been in those off seasons watching people get better and better. So he's qualified to have these conversations. And I think that's important that we have former players and current players, shouts out to Draymond, having these conversations. True story. When I want basketball information and NBA information, I go to two podcasts, Gil's Arena and the Hoops Tonight podcast with Jason Timpf. He was a former college basketball player. He does great X's and O's, breaks it down. And I'll disagree a little bit with Matt, because in the midst of Gil's Arena and them doing the theatrics, they do give some really good, solid basketball takes. So I think overall, there is a level of hypersensitivity when it comes to these current crop of players. And for example, with LeBron and sort of the critiques, I think that for as much as we say Skip Bayless made his name pretty much off of hating on LeBron, we could easily make the argument that Nick Wright made his name off of praising LeBron. Mm-hmm. That is the opposite of Skip Bayless, where we are in a space now where media people can be fans. We knew growing up that was not allowed. Carl, you studied media. There was no media members sitting there cheering on other teams. That you couldn't do that. You had to at least appear objective. This new era, you can be a whole fan and cheerlead and celebrate your team as a media member, as an objective person. But nobody gets mad at that person though. Y'all don't get mad at the person overly praising their guy or what some would seem overly praising. So you got to take the quote unquote good with the bad.
I do get mad, Mike. I do hate when.
So you hate Shannon Sharpe?
Going crazy. I hate when Stephen A. Smith is going crazy with the Knicks and faking it. Like I do hate that. Like I want to say that's the problem right there.
What about Shay? Club Shay? So you hate Shannon Sharpe too? Shannon Sharpe does it with LeBron too.
LeBron is wild.
Yeah, he does too though. He really does.
But that's the thing. Yeah, there's no outrage. Me and Mac, I'm with you. I don't like it either. But I'm saying the overall outrage of hate. We hear that, but we don't hear no overall outrage. Oh, y'all praising them too much. That's in the human psyche. Everybody loves to get praised. Nobody likes criticism. So we perceive criticism as hate. And Carl, to your point, I'm gonna go right to you right after this, Mac. When you talk about people liking negativity or being prone to negativity with the algorithm, 2022. Frances Haugen, who used to work within Facebook, she had this bombshell research that she studied showing that Facebook was actually constructing their algorithm to highlight more negativity because psychologically we're more prone to seeing negativity and clicking negativity than we do positively. So that's to your point. So I think it's all part of the cesspool, if you will, of sports and sports media. So you take the good with the bad. And last thing before I kick it to Mac, I actually think whether you call it critique or hate, I think part of it is a good thing. I think we may not get the LeBron James we get if not for Skip Bayless hating his whole career. How do we know that wasn't a motivating factor? We'll get the book later when he tells us Skip Bayless was his Howard Cosell like Muhammad Ali. I'm just saying
that was all fake, Mike.
It was fake.
Howard Cosell and Muhammad Ali was behind the scenes telling each other we gonna disrespect each other.
That's what I'm saying, Mac. When we get the book,
how do we know that's not Skip and LeBron?
Skip and LeBron,
and that's corny. That's still corny. That's what we saying.
One more
Mike,
thing.
To your point, I think we do see the people. You said we don't see the people who don't like the over praising and the over glorifying. We do. Those people glorify the haters. They balance it out. They balance the algorithm out.
Yeah.
If they see too much fake love, they go like and retweet the hate. That's how they get it back going. On the burner account.
But
one more thing. One time, Carl. In terms of hate and criticism, I'm an expert. I was absolutely a LeBron hater, 100%. Like,
and you love them too, though. But you loved them too, though. You were both.
That's what I'm saying. So I praised him, but I went out of my way to hate on him. Like I did. So I know the difference. But Mac in his conclusion is correct. That's whack if people are doing this behind the scenes. And to his point, we all know it's fabricated.
Yo, what if we found out Drake and Kendrick really been together?
No, I'd be over. Look, Zig will lose his mind if he believes. As a K-Dot fan,
that shit is real hate, bro.
Andre, you want to wrap the segment up? Yeah, one last point.
Yeah, one more thing. Mike, you mentioned Draymond Green, and the thing about Draymond Green is that he became a media member to become the new media, and he's doing the same thing that the old media did. For example, again, not to kiss ass of the Knicks. Draymond went out and said that Karl Anthony Towns missed a game because he was scared of Jimmy Butler. And they came out and said that Jordan Woods lost someone in her family. And they asked Draymond about it. And what did Draymond say? Oh, I'm sorry. The Draymond Green show will go on with Baron Davis. Like, really? Like,
he's
like,
a
come on, bro.
Yo. He's a true combo.
You want to listen? He's one of the best defenders of all time, one of the greatest players of all time. But like, I don't get it. I genuinely,
Top
he's
five
a
cornball.
he's a
It
heel.
sells.
He's a heel in every single press conference.
But listen,
bro.
Walmart, cornball sells in the media, man. Corny sells. It's,
You know,
it's
your
crazy.
man Kendrick Perkins do it every day.
Thanks for watching the Sports Hit List. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. In fact, do it now.